Story 1. Having worked during college at the local movie theater, I came across all kinds of Karens. In this particular case, Karen went to the movies with her 2 kids, around the ages of 4 or 5. As you guys know, movie theaters have high prices for snacks and drinks. It was a Sunday morning, and usually this is a busy time with a lot of small children and kids' movies. It's obvious that I'm dealing with a total Karen straight from the start. Keeping on her sunglasses, chewing gum, and being on her phone the entire time she's waiting in line. When it's her turn, I think to myself, your shift just started. Just be nice and maybe this will all go over smoothly. It didn't. Karen is annoyed by the prices of the tickets. You can buy the tickets and your snacks at the same register, and is not happy with the assortment of healthy snacks. I'm still there, trying to keep up my best smile like I'm the freaking Joker in a low-budget Batman movie. But I'm getting through her order. Now for the little children. As they were acting like dogs running around the place, I will name them like dogs, so child 1 is Ollie and child 2 is Rex. P.S. Where I'm from, we have a display where you can scoop your own candy in a bag for a fixed price per 100 grams 3.5 ounces. Being in a movie theater, this is crazy expensive and a full bag can cost around 16 euros. Ollie: Mommy, can we scoop some candy? Karen: How much for the candy? Me: It's €1.50 per 100 gram. Karen: Yes, Ollie, hurry up with the candy. Rex: Mom, I want some candy too. Karen: Ollie, help your brother get his candy. At this point, she already spent way too much time in line. Normally you scoop the candy before you make your purchase to prevent that the transaction takes an extremely long time and we can help other customers. Not for Miss Karen though. She just goes back to texting on her phone. I'm baffled, annoyed, and just want to go help other customers because the movie is starting in 15 minutes and the lines for the registers are not moving at all. So me, the good Samaritan that I am, try to eyeball the bag of candy Ollie has so that I can get a rough estimate how much the candy will cost. To my enjoyment, I see the kid with an enormous bag of candy almost the size of his head. So I estimate that it will be around 15 euros. As for Rex, his bag isn't that full, but he is still scooping, and I think to myself, realistically, the price will be higher, but I just want this to be over and I don't want to overprice them. Me: The total will be 44 euros. Karen: What? Why is it so expensive? Me: Miss, the candy weighs a lot and the price. Karen: But you didn't even weigh it. You're just trying to rip me off. Weigh it and give me the correct price, she says as she grabs the bags from Ollie and Rex. Well, she was right. I didn't weigh it, but I wasn't trying to rip her off. Heck, I was giving her a huge discount. So I smile at her and grab the bags of candy and put them on the scale. I can see the price and so can the customer. Me: Sure, miss. As you can see, the price of the candy costs 24 euros, so your total will be 53 euros. Of course, Karen gets angry and wants me to call the manager because I'm still ripping her off. The manager comes along, weighs the candy and confirms that the correct price is 53 euros. Because you have to pay the candy when you grab it because of hygiene rules and there is a big freaking sign, Karen eventually buys everything and walks away angry with her kids. Luckily for me, the manager was a nice dude, so I didn't get into trouble for guessing the weight. And at the end of the shift, I was glad I could ruin a movie experience for Karen, to be honest. Story 2. So, in 2012, I found myself working as an overnight maintenance laborer for a family-owned collection of properties. 2 shopping complexes, a winery, a few warehouses, but most of the time, I was working and keeping a grocery store built in the late 60s functioning. Worked my way up to a night maintenance manager and loved my job. I was getting the kind of education you can't buy. Hands-on electrical one night, plumbing the next, welding after that. All taught to me by 3 men that could build a house up to code single-handedly. And we all got along great. It was the first time in my adult life I had real responsibilities and I was respecting myself because I respected the job I was doing. The owners were all people that truly cared about their employees, and they proved this when, in 2017, they sold the main grocery store. One of the many things they included during the selling process was that all current employees had to be offered new positions at their current pay level. The company that bought us, I won't say their name but think the opposite of dangerous path, does not employ an in-house maintenance team. Something breaks, they outsource the fixing of it, so they really didn't have a ready-made place for me to fit into like the other department managers. The store manager also did not like that I was making $18 an hour, $6 over a new hire rate. Thus began the systematic what I saw as harassment and what has been later confirmed to me as standard operating procedure for legally getting rid of someone at this company. Some of my faves include making my 35-year-old self a bag boy. Joke's on you. I love doing easy work for good money. Writing me up for spending 20 minutes talking to the police about an accident I had seen while returning carts. I thoroughly enjoyed the district manager apologizing to me for that. Cutting my hours down from full-time to 24 hours a week, which is completely allowable. But as the second most senior member in the store, everyone below me has to get their hours cut first. No, you can't force me to take a salaried manager's position. Yes, you can make me a cashier, a position you know I do not want, but you have to give me the $3 pay bump. And on and on and on, in addition to the many broken verbal promises and out-and-out lies. I became very well versed on the union rules, my specific contract rules, and how to protect myself. 7 union arbitrations in my first 5 months, all ended in my favor. Meanwhile, the assistant managers love me. I can cover any department because I've done most everything and I'm a quick learner for what I don't know. Anything breaks down in the store, it was falling apart before they bought it if I can't fix it. I can at the very least make a detailed work request so it gets fixed sooner. I become the go-to-cover guy, filling in any position that needs it. Which at long last brings me to my malicious compliance. The store was not doing well, sales-wise. About a year and a half in, they couldn't get a closing butcher. So, the night manager taps me to work in the meat department for 3 hours every night just to close it out and clean it up. In the department there is a bandsaw that's used for cutting meat with bones in it. It's really painful to clean, so after reading the department manual, I realized you were not to use that piece of equipment if you hadn't been trained on it. Now I 100% had been trained on that bone saw. I knew how to take it apart, fix it, and put it back together. But that training was with the old company, and I had been informed many times that the new company only thought I'd been trained when they had trained me. Perfect. I can close down the bone saw earlier and get it cleaned. If any customer needs me to cut meat with a bone in it, I inform them that I hadn't been trained on that piece of equipment. Shouldn't be an issue. This is late night and the store's not doing that well begin with. I cleared all this with the assistant manager. This goes on for months until finally I'm called into the manager's office during the day. Turns out, one of the customers I had informed that I could not use the bone saw was a secret shopper. The store manager is writing me up for failure to complete my duties. She's also writing it up as malicious failure. I forget the term they use. It's basically 2 write-ups instead of just 1, and that coupled up with my previous write-up. I was 15 minutes late once. That's on me and gave her the 3 write-ups she needs to fire me. As I have done so many times in the past with this woman, I invoke my right to union representation and decline to talk with her until after I've spoken with them. At this point, I'm thinking, they can't bust me. I was following the written directions, but oh no. It got so much sweeter and so much worse. While talking to my union representative, it quickly becomes clear that the butchers are a completely different union. The store is in violation of the butcher's union contract by having a non-union employee work in that department. So first, my union fights the write-up, wins and gets me paid for the forfeit of days I missed work. They then get me a lawyer who tells me I am not to speak with any store manager in any capacity, due to the butcher's union complaint against the store. 2 weeks off, fully paid. For me, I can't work very well at a store where I cannot speak to my bosses. I then get 2 more days off, paid as well while I speak to the various union representatives for my testimony. The store is fined $50,000 is what I was told for breach of butcher's contract. When I returned to work, my store manager did not work there anymore as she got fired. Her replacement only accepts the job if his bonuses are not tied to the store's overall performance, so he doesn't mind that I'm overpaid. As icing on the cake, no one really liked her, so I'm damn near a hero when I get back. Story 3. A few years ago, I was a department manager for a large conference center. I ran the top-performing department as determined by guest feedback surveys by a large margin. Like, no other department out of 1,200 employees was even close. And my dress style was always nice and professional. Dress code didn't say we needed to have on button-up shirts and ties, but I did it anyway because I looked great and professional. And I met with the leaders of large conferences multiple times per day. I dressed to impress. They were my clients, and whatever their problem was, I was going to fix it. My demeanor and professional attire did great things to alleviate their concerns. My bosses got on a dress code kick for some reason. They made me and my small department, 6 people total, start wearing lame, colorful, standardized shirts with a logo on front. The rationale was that the clients should be able to identify me as a staff member. I get the logic, but that was what my lanyard and name badge were for. Plus, the bright colorful dress code shirt was actually detrimental to my work, as I often worked backstage as a tech during band performances. Industry standard color for techs is black, but they wanted me to wear bright yellow. Okay. I tell them my concerns for my shirt's bright colors being a distraction for the audience as I do work backstage, but my bosses don't care. They made up a new dress code and want me to follow it. Fine. So I wear the shirt. But then I also wear a nice sweater vest on top of it. Still got my tie on. I like ties. But to make it explicitly clear I'm staff, I get my own hat made at my own expense too that shows the company's name on it. Again, my badge and lanyard are always visible. But now I can do my backstage work without being a distraction to the audience that might glimpse my movement as I go about doing scene changes, etc. But then my bosses tell me that the company's logo has to be visible on my shirt, and I therefore can't wear a vest. So then I get the company's logo embroidered on my shirt sleeve, also at personal expense. Problem solved, right? I'm wearing the shirt they gave me and the company's logo is visible. At this point, my boss is pissed at me and is trying to write me up for any possible infringement of company policies. I know how to read a room, and I immediately start going to the HR director to approve of my new and evolving malicious compliance of this ever-changing dress code policy. My boss says that we can't wear hats. Okay, fine. My hair is visible for all to see, and I quickly become aware of the next thing my bosses are going to tell me to fix. My hair. They're going to cite some vague language in the employee handbook about hair length. So I go to the HR director preemptively and ask for clarification for hair length. After a 10-minute conversation, we both agree that I am perfectly fine with nothing to worry about. My hair is nice, in a bun, and looks good. It's well kept and stylish, and my specific clientele actually really like it because they're mostly hipsters anyway. But my bosses don't see it that way. They say that my hair is too long and needs to be cut. I ask them how long is too long. I am, after all, a rule follower and will obey the rules. One of my bosses, a woman with long hair that is actually against dress code because it's not put up into a bun, says that my hair should be less than shoulder length. My hair was in a man bun. I ask her if that policy extends to women as well. She says no, obviously, that this dress code only applies to men. Apologetically and feigning ignorance, I ask her to show me where it says that in the employee handbook. She shows me the section where it says that if the hair is longer than shoulder length regardless the gender it should be kept in a bun. I tell her that my hair is in a bun, as opposed to hers. Oh man, now it's getting real. I just called them out. They're not happy. My other boss, a guy with super short hair, less than 1/4 of an inch long, tells me that as a guy, my hair shouldn't touch my shirt's collar. He tells me that a few stray hairs of mine are touching my collar. I pull out my phone and take a picture of him. I show him that even his 1/4 hair is touching the collar, his head was leaned back and his hair was touching his collar. I then ask them again to clarify how long is too long, because his 1/4 hair is too long for their standards. Side note, I love my thick hair. Someone telling me to cut it arbitrarily speaks fighting words. Then they tell me that I just need to do what I'm told because it's the company policy, and if I don't do it, they'll get HR involved. I tell them I already got HR involved, and the HR director explicitly told me that my hair was perfectly fine. But these two bosses of mine just wouldn't let it go. They had to go after my hair. They told me that since I'm a manager and meet with group leaders, I have to go above and beyond what the dress code says, and I have to act professional in order for us to receive good guest feedback regarding professionalism. I tell them that me and my department are already the most professional and highest rated department according to guest feedback surveys. I take the printout of the survey results out of my bag, because I anticipated my lack of professionalism was going to be questioned and had it printed in advance, and I show them the survey. They read it, toss the paper aside, and tell me to cut my hair or be written up. Fine. The next day, I came into work with a shaved head. They never told me to cut my hair again because I look far worse with no hair. Coincidentally, they also let me wear my hat again, haha. But only because my shaved head was a sore sight. As a point of interest, when I resigned from my position a year later, I submitted to HR my 80-point paper why my two bosses caused me to leave the organization, how they stifled me and my department from doing legitimately good and quality work, and how I felt that under their leadership, I was incapable of ever winning. A month after I left, I heard from a friend and previous co-worker who was still at the company that my direct boss was forced to retire, and my other boss was fired. My friend told me that they were privy to a conversation held between the CEO and my female boss, the one who was fired, and my friend overheard the CEO say, "Your time here at this company is over. And I want you to know that when you're gone, your position will not be filled. Consider you and your position eliminated." Lastly, I haven't cut my hair since I left, apart from occasional trims. It's now almost 3 feet long, and I plan on giving my gorgeous lion's mane away to some charity that deals with making wigs for kids.